Okay, so now we come to the parable of the talents. For the kingdom of heaven is as a man traveling into a far country, who called his servants and delivered unto them his goods. And unto one he gave 5 talents, to another 2, and to another 1, to every man according to his several ability, and straightway took his journey. Then he that had received the 5 talents went and traded with the same, and made them over 5 talents. Made them other 5 talents. And likewise he that had received 2 talents, he also gained other 2. But he that received 1 went and digged in the earth, and hid his Lord's money. After a long time the Lord of those servants cometh and reckoned with them. And so he that received the 5 talents came and brought another 5 talents, saying, Lord, you had delivered unto me 5 talents. Behold, I have gained besides them 5 talents more. His Lord said unto him, Well done, you good and faithful servant. You have been faithful over a few things. I will make you rule over many things. Enter you into the rest of the joy of your Lord. And also he that received 2 talents came and said, Lord, you have delivered unto me 2 talents. Behold, I have gained 2 other talents beside them. His Lord said unto him, Well done, good and faithful servant. Thou hast been faithful over a few things. I will make thee rule over many things. Enter you into the rest of the Lord. Then he which had received 1 talent came and said, Lord, I knew that you were a hard man, reaping where you have not sown, and gathering where you have not strawed. And I was afraid, and went and hid my talent to the earth. Lo, here thou hast what that is thine. The Lord answered and said unto him, You wicked and slothful servant, you knew that I reap where I sow not, and gather where I have not strawed. You should have, therefore, put my money to the money changers, the exchangers, and then at my coming I should have had received mine own with usury. Take therefore the talent from him, and give it unto him which hath 10 talents, and unto every man that hath given to every man that hath shall be given, and he that have abundance. But unto him that hath not shall be taken away even that which he hath. And cast ye the unprofitable servant unto outer darkness. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Okay. I've talked about this before. What are God's treasures? Okay, we're talking about the Lord went away. He gave talents to his people. And what are his talents? What are his treasures? It's not money and it's not material possessions. His treasures are people. In other words, what we're talking about here is ministry. To each one of his servants, he gives a different ministry. All right? And so, like some ministers, they get bigger ministries than others. Okay? But everybody has at least one ministry, and that one ministry is himself and his own family. Everybody's got one. All right? So, what are you going to do with the ministry that you've been given? You know, here's the first guy, and he's got a fairly good-sized ministry, and he goes out and he doubles the ministry. The ministry is twice what it was, becomes twice more than what he received. And the second does the same thing. But here's the guy that only has one ministry to minister to himself and maybe to his family, and he doesn't do it. He hides his talent. He doesn't preach the gospel to his family. He doesn't put the principles of the gospel into effect in his own life so that he can save his own soul. And in the end, you know, he says, well, Lord, you know, here I am, and, you know, I'm returning myself to you the way that I was when you left. Well, the Lord's not interested in that, you know. And so what happens is, you know, whatever, you know, not exactly how it applies to this, you know, take away his, whatever he was supposed to have whatever was supposed to be his and give it to the first guy. You know, I mean, I know exactly how it works. No parable is ever exactly perfect, but you get the idea that in the end, the guy that didn't take care of the ministry that was given to him, you know, hid his talent, you know, hid the treasure that was given to him, hid, you know, the responsibility of the ministry, you know, he's kicked out. You know, don't want that to be me. Okay. So, okay. So then we come to the separation of the sheep and the goats. When the Son of Man shall come in his glory, and all the holy angels with him, then shall he sit upon the throne of his glory, and before him shall be gathered all nations, and he shall separate them one from another, as a shepherd divideth his sheep from the goats. And he shall set the sheep on his right hand, but the goats on his left. Then shall the king say unto them on his right hand, Come, ye blessed of my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you, from the foundation of the world. For ye were Catholics, and ye were Baptists, and ye were Mormons, and come into my presence. Is that what he said? No, that's not what he said at all. You were popes and priests and pastors and presidents and bishops and this and that and another thing. Come into my presence. Is that what he says? No. Listen well to what the Lord says. Listen well to what the Lord said. For I was an hungered, and ye gave me meat. I was thirsty, and ye gave me drink. And I was a stranger, and ye took me in. Naked, and ye clothed me. I was sick, and ye visited me. I was in prison, and ye came unto me. Then shall the righteous answer, saying, Lord, when saw we thee and hungered, and fed thee, and thirsty, and gave thee drink, and saw thee were a stranger, and took thee in, and naked, and clothed thee? And when saw we thee sick, or in prison, and came unto thee? And the king shall answer and say unto them, Verily I say unto you, that inasmuch as you've done it unto one of the least of these your brethren, ye have done it unto me. Okay? A lot of people are expecting, because they're a member of a certain church or an organization or a nation or whatever, that the Lord's going to say, Come on in, ye sheep. You know, you are a member of this church, so come on in. No. You got to be putting into practice what the Lord teaches here. Feeding the hungry, giving drink to the thirsty, and giving shelter to the homeless, and clothing to the naked, and visiting the sick and the afflicted to bless them, and to visit those in prison. This is the work of the Lord. This is what's going to put you on the right side, the right hand of God. Not all that other stuff you're doing. Here's these churches, and they set up these grand idols, and they build these big buildings and temples and church houses and cathedrals and stuff, and they say, Oh, look at our grand works. We've done it all for you. And he's going to look at you and say, But what about the poor that are wandering the streets? You know, I was in Salt Lake City not too long ago in 2011, and the poor people wandering the streets, and they've got this big idol, graven image in their downtown, who doesn't work, doesn't labor whatsoever, and it just stands there, and yet there's an army of attendants to make sure it's cleaned and polished, and it sits in this visitor center, and it's got heating in the winter and air conditioning in the summer. You see, and poor people going hungry on the streets, and homeless people wandering the streets all the time, all over the place. And these people think that they're going to be on the right hand of God when he comes in judgment. Come on, folks, wake up. You see, how you treat your fellow man is going to determine on which hand you are in the day of judgment.